Knock, knock on your door. It's ready for game 4. Let's get into this one. Echo, you're still holding hopes high. Your prediction still could be the one to fly, but are your hopes maybe a little bit wavering?
No, I'm steadfast, baby. Listen, these last 2 games, they were just testing out the water, feeling out the water, seeing what works, what doesn't. Found a lot of things that don't work. So now they know hopefully what will work. So, I still believe the dream is alive.
Talking about what will work, Must1, is there anything that you think could maybe change the tides? Maybe some picks that they haven't locked in just yet?
I think the Burning Core team need to get Echo in their huddles right now. I think that's what they need more than anything else. Get the mental game going, because frankly, I think a point that we made earlier on the post-game desk regarding kind of like, Burning Core are they adapting well? Are they playing what they should be doing? It feels like they're a bit more discoordinated now. I think, honestly, it could be a bit mental boomy. It's really hard to know, obviously, without the players and actually talking to them directly, but that draft that we just saw from them in that last match, pretty weird, pretty unexpected in a lot of scenarios, so hopefully we'll see something more standard. I'm going to keep calling for it. Yuhi Aphelios, I just want to see that. Get him on a stable champion that I know he can hard carry on.
Yeah, Boomy was pretty mental in the Avatar Last Airbender. Hopefully they're going as crazy as that guy was, but Infinite Dodge, Darius, as said by RMC before we went back live, hasn't been banned. Do you think they should pick it up at some point?
No, I don't. I don't think there's any room where Darius. Okay, let me put it this way. You remember when Adam picked Darius against G2, and Wonder was playing Camille, and like Wonder like solo killed him, and then immediately inted back to him, and all of a sudden Darius was good. You cannot count on them immediately inting back to you. That is not a viable strategy. Darius is dependent on punishing the mistakes of noobs. And Rascal Jester don't got a noob up there in the top lane. Ino has, much of my prediction, before the series started, we did the Messer Impress, but only the Impress half, and I said that I'm looking at Ino to defy expectations and either neutralize or beat Ray Farkey in the top lane. And I think in game 2, you can argue he beat him, and you don't even have to argue. He made him look foolish with the Groggies. And in game 3, he neutralized him with the Malphite. So I don't think the Darius angle, I mean, that reeks of desperation to me. I don't think it's going to be effective. I'd rather just see them focus on jungle. Pick up a Hecarim, perhaps, a Diana, something that we know they can play and has a multitude of tools and isn't as one-dimensional as the Darius.
Okay.
Or pick Darius and just, make it look good if you're going to end. That would be fun, too.
We are going to be jumping into the next game. Casters, take it away for what could be our final game.
Thank you very much. And, well, I'm excited to see what Burning Core are going to do. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of feeling confident in my prediction. 3-1 for Rascal Jesters looks that way. But, you've got that one last chance. Maybe 2 if you're a Burning Core. Make the most of it. I want to see some spicy things.
I agree. And you know what? Infinite Dodge says that a Darius pick here would reek of desperation. I agree, but Burning Core is desperate. It's not looking great for them here. And I don't know if I'd say that Ino actually won that lane. I do feel like Ray Farkey actually won it on the Jace. Malphite is the counter pick into Jace, not just in lane, but for the rest of the game. And I feel like at least in lane, Ray Farkey was crushing that Malphite. And maybe if you put him on something like the Darius, who can literally actually 1v5 here, and you get that sort of lead, maybe he can carry a little bit harder. I'm not going to deny it reeks of desperation, but you do what it takes to carry on.
Yeah, there's also the question of Soul and Secret and whether you can even do anything about it, because they have just taken over the bot lane time and time again. But we're going into the draft, same sides. Ahri is going to be banned for the game 4.
Okay, so first of all, why are you still on the same side? Get rid for Burning Core and give counterpick to Ray Farkey here. And second of all, Ahri ban? For real right now? I don't think the Ahri is the biggest problem. I think Ahri is good, and I think Recap, especially in that last game with the Charms, was critical. But I'm honestly more scared of Recap Vigar or Recap Syndra than I am of Recap Ahri.
That is true, and I mean, both of those champions are open. We do see the Jace taken away from Farky. He's not going to be able to run this one back. Nautilus. So Fujimoto on a different support this time round. I don't know if it makes that much of a difference, though.
No, it's such an... I'm sorry, I'm tilted by a first pick Nautilus. In what world is Nautilus first pick? You get countered by Leona, and honestly, Fujimoto has done perfectly fine on Leona. And more importantly, the Zeri was open, the Jinx was open. Yeah, there we go. Rascal Jesters, you picked the highest prio AD carry, Zeri. You picked the highest prio support, which counters this Nautilus, and I'm just... Ooh. You know what? I agree. I think Burning Core's mental has boomed at this point.
Yeah, that being said, Ashe as the answer to Zeri Leona. It's something. You've got the Ashe arrow as the playmaking. I think Burning Core are gonna go for the let's hope we don't lose bot lane too hard, and then we're gonna have initiation when it comes to later stages.
Yeah, or the I know I'm gonna lose bot lane, so let me pick something with utility. Ashe pick up here.
Well,
and
yes.
Kashka, the problem too is that if you're gonna go with the Ashe, pick the Leona for the Ashe, because then you can CC chain at level 6. Now with the Nautilus, the problem is you depth charge onto Zeri, Leona's just gonna use the Solar Flare to disengage, and you just traded ultimates, even if you did use that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. So that's why I'm screaming about that Nautilus B1 pick. It's really not working out. And guess what, Kashka? To double down, Rascal Jester, you banned the Yari. Congratulations, you've got to deal with Vigar. Do you really think you can handle that?
I honestly don't know. Recap has been farming up in the lane, staying safely, with the exception of that last game where shenanigans ensued. So yeah, I honestly think Rascal Jester, with this kind of comp, they are setting themselves up for a win here in this game. For Burning Core, those last two picks, they're gonna have to be convincing, because right now, I'm not sold.
Agreed. And we are seeing the other bans come out here, Burning Core, with the Poppy ban, which is interesting considering we haven't actually seen any Poppy whatsoever here. So they're obviously looking for something that can go in, that can engage here. And I love the Rascal Jester bans here. Twisted Fate, again, that's a bit of a baffler considering the meta we've seen develop within this series. Twisted Fate has not been prioritized, but I like the Yasuo ban because, like we said, DICE is known for the Akali, the Yone, the Yasuo, and you see this much knock up here, it's got to be back of your mind that, hey, are they actually running a Yasuo comp here? Let's not give DICE that option.
The Jarvan, the Hover, and the lock-in for Hachimecha. Engage jungler. Fits with the comp very nicely. Rascal Jester, their team fights look, well, A+ tier from me.
Agreed. And it's not just the team fights here. I like Hachimecha on the J4. That was the pick where he was getting a lot of early strong ganks on in the series against CGA, and it's been banned away most of this series. So I love to see it being picked up here with something like that Leona, and now you can enable your top side as well. What is this drop? Even Kashka, I'm losing my mind here. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't hate Kassadin. I just don't see why you're picking it with this composition.
I'm gonna vaguely gesture level 16 scaling something. That's my answer.
So
takes less AP damage from Vigar.
Okay, yeah, little bit less, right? Lee Sin being put. Burning Core have gone full solo queue. So the problem with this is you pick Kassadin, level 16. Yeah, he's gonna do great. He's gonna have initiative. But one of the worst AD carries to pick it into is actually that Zeri. Because against any other AD carry, you can burst them. Remember we said before, Zeri gets tanky the later the game goes because she builds bruiser items. Kassadin can't actually one-shot her. And guess who actually can one-shot Kassadin? Vigar.
Yep. And also, Kassadin, I don't believe is going to be able to catch up to Sol at full movement speed with a Zeri. So, Burning Core, right, we've got this team composition, you named it solo queue, I'm inclined to agree, to say the least. How do they go about staying alive in this series, right? They've got the comp, okay? We can't change that. What do they actually do with it?
Kasha, you might have to come back to me in about 40 minutes because I'm still trying to figure this one out here. Like, the other thing too is like we see the Lee Sin last picked as the jungler here for Burning Core. Into Leona, into Vigar, like what are you trying to engage into the Aatrox as well? It doesn't feel like there's a single good lane to really gank, and there's not a good way for this Lee Sin to team fight. So it feels like for Burning Core right now, when I'm looking at the composition, I feel like the only way they win this is Flawless has to create a jungle chasm like he has the last couple of games. And he just somehow needs to magically get his lanes ahead. And specifically, he's got to get Dice ahead. We've got to get the flawless Dice connection online. Because if you get Rayfarki ahead, it means absolutely nothing. If you get Yuhi ahead, it means absolutely nothing. So it has to be flawless getting Dice ahead, and then they have to get so far ahead, they just one-shot everyone.
Yeah, and now back to reality, you're playing into a Vigar, so have fun with that. It's going to be, I mean, not a very mobile champion, but the cage is going to deny a lot of playmaking potential. And we also look at the rest of the lanes for Rascal Jester. Soul Secret, Zeri, Leona. They might not have too much early game pressure, but I mean, has it ever stopped them in this series before?
No. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't even matter. Do they have early pressure? No, but they are Soul and Secret, so I'm sure they'll get a kill or two, or be involved in First Blood somehow here. That's it. Okay. On a more serious note, Gasha, Dice, the Kassadin. This pick really has to be the magic pick for them, because everybody else is going to get stopped and stifled by this Event Horizon from Recap, from that Vigar pick, which they left up and open in favor of an Ahri. Dice is the only one who can reliably get in and out of that cage and find kills. So there is still an opportunity to focus this mid lane down and to punish this Vigar earlier on. And once you hit level 6 as well, Hachamicha can't actually gank Dice either. This Kassadin is going to be able to dodge out all the ganks. So Burning Core have to play towards their mid lane, which is something that we like to see happen, but has not been the case. Flawless has more often played towards Rayfarki. And for Rascal Jesters here, they just need to not screw up too hard. They will outscale with the Vigar and the Zeri as well. And they actually have winning matchups for the most part. Like we said, Leona manhandles Nautilus. And in that top side, Aatrox is a common counter pick to that Gragas here, can really punish. So I think for the first time, or well, I was going to say first time, but I guess the Malphite was a hard counter to the Chase as well. I think I know if he wins this lane, top side, and if both side lanes start winning for Rascal Jesters, Burning Core are really going to struggle on this one.
Yeah, but it's backs against the wall. You lose here, your playoffs run is over. And I mean, we highlighted multiple times, this is the furthest Burning Core have made it. But now Rascal Jester proving to be a very strong opponent indeed. And let's see what Burning Core can do here.
Yeah, I feel like that's been the story of this entire series, Kasha, hasn't it? What can Burning Core do here? And to be fair to them, they delivered game 1, they found a win, and in games 2 and game 3, the early game hasn't looked bad for them. Flawless has been amazing with the early game control here, so I still feel like there's a chance, you know, maybe Echo's prediction can still come true. And if Burning Core somehow win with this particular composition as well, I feel like for Rascal Jesters, it's going to be such a big challenge to them to try and figure out how to deal with this particular draft and what this means for the game 5 here.
Yeah, I think what we should say is the game's not over until it's over. We haven't in fact even loaded into the Rift yet, so let's give this Burning Core comp a shot. Both of us agree it's a wacky one. Not exactly sure how they will want to play this one, but it's the comp of choice for Burning Core, so let's see what they have in mind. As we're going on to the Rift, Rayfarki going with the body slam and onto Ino. Flawless is going to follow. They burn the flash early on.
Okay, that's pretty critical here. Keep in mind that Rayfarki has more often than not been winning his lane in the 1v1 here, so burning that flash from Ino is absolutely massive. And Flawless getting that early ward as well. He's kind of disrupted Hachamicha's plan, because I don't know if Hachamicha was looking to start topside, but he probably has to cover topside now because he doesn't know where Flawless is and he doesn't want to lose his rip.
Yeah, can see Rascal Jester respectfully playing given what happened last game, and both bot lanes spotting each other out there in that early skirmish. Worth pointing out, Secret going for the Glacial Augment. It's always a choice you have between that Glacial and the Aftershock, and Leona opting for the more utility-centered rune.
Yeah, and I feel like when you see a support go with that Glacial Augment here, that support needs to win the matchup. If they start losing it, it feels really bad compared to Aftershock.
Yeah, early trading going back and forth, basically even in terms of potion starts. I believe Yuhi has one more potion at his disposal, and that means that Soul, no more potions, only that Cole.
I've got to question that initial engage as well, Kashka, because Soul is running a call. So obviously, you want to farm up. And you're on Zeri, who's already a weak early game champion. So, you know, hoping to win that particular 2v2 feels like you're being a little bit overly optimistic. They do, however, get that shove here. And watch Hachamicha as well. We said earlier in the series that Hachamicha's early pathing would be interesting. Is bot side is going to get spotted out by that hawk shot, but just by being bot side, Yuhi and Fujimoto cannot play aggressive and have to just sit under turret.
Indeed. Hachamicha's pathing so far, it hasn't really, you know, popped off too much at all. But now we see the mid lane matchup. It has come into the spotlight last game. Just look at how little recap dies.
Yeah, and, you know, even on the Ari, that's really, really true as well. Dice, on the other hand, obviously dying a lot more, but tends to put out more damage as well. So it's a trade-off, right? Dice is that high risk, high reward, and I think the Yone game exemplified that. On the Kassadin, though, I can see it being the same thing, right? Where late game, he's going to put out a bunch of damage, but if you live by Dice, you die by Dice. And for Beast and for Burning Core right now, that's not been a good thing for them.
Oh, hasn't really paid off at all, and in fact, Flawless is going to finish his full clear towards the bot lane. Hachamicha already took the bot lane scuttle and is pathing towards the top side, so we'll see who's gonna be able to get their hands on the top lane scuttle first.
And actually, it'll be interesting to see the fight as well, because Flawless is currently, I believe, a level up from Hachamicha here, and if Hachamicha is just going straight for scuttle, well, you're probably not going to win that duel, and if Flawless can force you back as well, it does gain prio for both top and mid as well as the scuttle here.
Yeah, Hachamicha going to the Krogs, trading the scuttles, hands shaking. Both junglers still yet to make their first gank. Top lane is in a middling position. I mean, I feel like there is avenues for both junglers, but now with Aino being forced towards the tower, Flawless might find it difficult to look for a play.
Well, they're trying to bait in Hachamicha as well, because the hawk shot, great hawk shot from Yuhi, by the way. He's a really good utility AD carry. Did spot out the Krugs being taken, so they know Hachamicha's up there.
Yeah, okay, we are gonna see a 2 versus 2. The flag and drag did miss, and Aino is getting so low. First blood picked up by Flawless.
Kashka, that feels like it's back to my favorite phrase here in the LJL, information inequality there. The fact that they knew Hachamicha was there is why they can wait. They can bait it all out, and then they can win that trade. And if Hachamicha did not immediately leave and try to actually trade alongside Aino there, that could very easily have been a 2-0 exchange. But as it stands, once again, Flawless just seeming to be the better jungler in the early game.
Yeah, however, Secret taking definitely a bad trade here, will be forced to flash away, and Soul can't quite match the damage. Fujimoto and Yuhi getting the shove in the bot lane and winning out on the trades.
And once again, Secret's engaging these. It's not like Fujimoto was landing hooks. It's Secret landing the Zenith blade and forcing them to fight. Why are you doing that with a call here? Rascal Jester, there's asserting dominance, and then there's playing very risky. I feel like this one's more risky than you are exerting dominance at this point.
Nothing really to find in terms of a lead now. We saw another Hawk shot come out, and Burning Core know that Hachamicha currently is not around the bot lane. Now they don't know that he's pathing there, and Flawless is looping around for what could prove to be a very dangerous gank.
Yeah, I don't like this one. Heal is still up for Soul here, and Hachamicha is coming down. Flawless will get spotted.
Yeah, does initiate the fight, flag and drag away. Hachamicha taken down to 200 health, and okay, this goes fine for Burning Core. What's the play here? I don't suppose they want to dive this turret, not with the minion wave getting this low, and this is very reminiscent of the game 2 on the Italy going in yet again. Hachamicha forced to flag and drag away, and Secret and Soul, they're left under the turret. The mid lane recap is moving down slowly, but Fujimoto is going to initiate the dive right now. Soul taken down by Flawless, and Secret is going to be left alone. Dice teleported to the tower.
Bit of a miscommunication there, I think. Because Dice is 6, they wanted to get the kills on the cast, and we said before that's the big win con. But that backfired, and now Recap is going to get a free lane, free push here, and Dice is going to get absolutely nothing. But Flawless, once again, the early jungle gap here. And Kashka, you're saying that surely they can't be looking for the dive. Yes, they will. Flawless at this point will take every single dive in the bot side, because I feel like he recognizes that, hey, I've got a small window to try and get my team ahead, and we need to accelerate this before Rascal Jesters come online as a team. So I love that he's doing that. It worked out once. I want to see more of this from Flawless. Maybe not just bot. Maybe look top, maybe look mid.
Yeah, level 6 should be hit fairly soon, I believe. Having that serrated Dirk, bit of extra early game damages, gonna do wonders for the Lee Sin pick. Now, as you said, let's see where the setup is going to be coming from. Recap staying very safe in the mid lane. I don't suppose that is going to be a target anytime soon, but I know has a push going into the top lane.
Yeah, Aatrox is a little bit risky, especially when his ult is up here. And it relies on Wraithmarky to kind of chip him down, but definitely doable. And especially if they can bait Hachamicha back up to that top side again, they might look for that 2-4-0. It's almost 8 minutes as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing the bot laners, especially the supports, roam up towards that Herald side.
Yeah, we've actually seen that happen, I believe, most games of this series. Right now, all of them staying in place. And Dai's going for a trade onto Recap. He's got the blue buff. He can play aggressively.
Yeah, and Recap can't. Remember we said that this is the one lane where Burning Core actually look like they've got the potential to win that lane here, especially when Dice hits 6. And you can see that for Recap as well. If you don't land that Q, you're going to start losing all those trades against Kassadin. His skills are much easier to land here. And that, to me, kind of feels like it's too late for Rascal Jester to try and salvage this lane too. The Cataclysm can't lock down Dice. And so for now, Recap just needs to hold and farm mid. Flawless, does he know? Okay, he doesn't.
Nope, he's not going to go for it. I think just escorting Dice, maybe looking to see if Recap is going to walk by unescorted in the mid lane. You've got a level 6, the Dragon's Rage is available. I think there is a potential for a quick combo to bring him down. Especially that no stopwatch is sitting on this Veigar.
Yeah, but Veigar wave clears really, really quickly here. So I feel like Dice needs to shove a little bit harder, a little bit faster. And then they need to pull the trigger immediately. If not, Flawless is just wasting time here. He's stepping up a little bit further.
Yeah, he goes, flash kick. We got brought away. Dice takes the kill. That was no, the turret shot. Oh, it's a 1-for-1, and it just goes wrong for Burning Core.
Yeah, and don't forget, Flawless wasted all that time, and now in the Death Chamber, that's more time wasted. Recap didn't even burn ultimate. That was just perfect Event Horizon to just barely catch Flawless at the edge of it. And so Recap will still have that in lane if Flawless looks for another dive, or if Dice tries to punish here under turret. Well, you're in for a nasty surprise.
Yeah, and that means Recap can stay a bit more relevant. We look at the other lanes, they're even, basically, in terms of CS, in terms of everything. Now the arrow is going to be coming through. It's just annoying. It's not setting up for anyone.
Well, it is going to delay the back timings, and if Burning Core want to take advantage of this, they can actually go for for Dragon, pardon me, and so
never mind, it is Zeri. I forgot.
But that's important. That's even bigger, because we already said that if Soul gets delayed on the back, Dragon is a viable option. Now it's not just a viable option, it's completely free. Soul couldn't actually get the back off here, and that's why we're seeing Hachamicha just kind of go, okay, forget this. I'm starting up Herald ASAP here because we've already lost the Dragon.
Yeah, and I guess it is still a trade at the end of the day, but Burning Core, 1,500 gold lead. Off to a good start. Flawless is going to be sitting around this bot lane, and Soul and Secret are kind of sitting ducks right now. No flash for the Zeri. It's a big wave stacked in, and you can see they want to have nothing to do with defending the start. Solo plates going over to Yuhi.
But I'm glad they're being respectful here for Soul and Secret. Remember back to, was it last game? Or no, game 2 with the Nidalee, they stuck around the turret they shouldn't have. This game as well, they stuck around the turret they shouldn't have, and they got punished by Flawless. So this time they're recognizing, hey, even if Hachamicha is here, just back off this wave. We'll lose this wave for now. Yes, it gets crashed, but it's okay. Soul was up in CS, so is still fairly even with Yuhi, and Yuhi has gone for a rather strange build with that tier. Looks like he's trying to get that Mirror Mana early, which will actually set him behind the Zeri for the first big team fight here.
Going full utility, it seems, on the Ashe, relying on the arrows instead of the auto attack DPS, or well, at least for a while here. And Flores is going to find Hachamicha, does follow through the resonating strike. Hachamicha flashes away. Recap going in with the Predator. That is the big change, and Recap takes the kill thanks to the ult.
Flawless really going to regret not burning that ult the first gank there, and Hachamicha needs to stop face checking bushes. You're a Jarvan. Throw your flag, your standard, into those bushes right now, because you're seeing how close he is to dying from Flawless. And sure, they managed to turn it this time, but next time, if Recap doesn't have that ult, if he's not in the area here, it's not going to go as well. And keep in mind, Dice can also rotate really quickly.
Yeah, but recap rotating, I think that's what we need to really put the focus on, because it's the second kill being picked up by this Vigar now. And it is the lane that you have highlighted that we said we need to see Burning Core play around. That being said, some good news, Flawless gets the Mythic.
Okay, Prowler's Claw for Flawless. That is not a Mythic that I'm used to seeing on Lee Sin, but I actually kind of like it given the situation that we're in, Kashka, because you asked me how does Burning Core win, and I kind of tell you that they've got to get some early leads. Flawless is wholly embracing that idea here. He's going for the early lethality, and he's going to look to brute force skirmishes left and right.
Why
Great knockback.
not? Such a great cask from Rayfarki, and Flawless takes the kill. I mean, all the credit here for Rayfarki, because that setup was just clean.
It was, and you're also seeing the benefit of that Prowler's Claw, right?
Yeah.
I know is pseudo tanky on this Aatrox here, and it did not even matter. Ooh, recap messing up.
Yeah, Dai is getting a lot of damage down. Having that Everfrost now as well for the Kassadin means you can start trading back somewhat effectively. And yeah, the table has been set. Burning Core, they want to win this game off the back of Flawless. He wants to go around the map and make all sorts of plays. It's a question of whether Rascal Jester will allow it to happen.
Herald being dropped mid, and they've rotated Soul and Secret up here. I like this. Keep in mind, Recap still has the ultimate, so Dice can't actually play aggressive. He's already so low. If he drops below 30% health, I think he gets one shot by that ultimate.
Yeah, plays are going to be contributed. Down the mid lane, Arrow goes wide, and Rascal Jester, they make a play with the Herald, which is good enough. It kind of stops Burning Core for at least a minute with them making plays. As Soul on the wrong side of this pit for sure, but Zeri seems to have just enough damage to zone Yuhi away.
I feel like the bot lane has flipped here, where originally Soul and Secret couldn't fight because Soul was just sitting on a call. And now they can because Yuhi's just sitting on a Mirror Mana, which isn't fully stacked. So it's just like, oh, guys, we can fight this. And Yuhi, like, you don't want to really trade on this. I'm also actually kind of curious if Yuhi might want to just build an Axiom Arc here and just kind of be that alt spam bot for the team and just keep throwing out the Enchanted Crystal Arrows. Because right now, they've been throwing out on almost cooldown. They're just fishing for picks. And I actually like to see that. It hasn't panned out yet. But if it ever lands onto Recap and Flawless is anywhere in the neighborhood, that's an easy quick kill.
Yeah, I actually somewhat agree. I don't know if the Ruby Crystal is going to be building into that, so seems that Axiom Arc not on the top list of priorities here for the AD carry of Burning Core. Now, Infernal is going to be up in 30 seconds, with Flawless being now spotted on this blue buff. That should be the signal if Rascal Jesters want to play around it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Rascal Jesters right now, I'm not sure what they want to do because they've been kind of passive in the early game, and a lot of it has been because Hachimecha has been set so far behind. I feel like they don't think they have the right to try and make proactive plays right now. They've been kind of sitting back. But then again, Soul and Secret have been doing well. So if they want to force a dragon, then I think that is the one objective that maybe Rascal Jesters could look at.
Yeah, but never mind that, because both junglers are currently in the top lane. Two Gold Drinkers versus Prowler's Claw and Chemtech. I do wonder which one is going to win out. There is no healing reduction for the side of Burning Core, and actually they're not even gonna go for the fight, so screw all that setup. I just tried to do as Yuhi is going to insta-burn the cleanse away from the Solar Flare.
I was with you, Kashka. I was like, okay, I'm gearing up for a fight. You know, let's go. I do want to stat check to see how things are going. You know, as we're seeing all the mythics start to complete right now, RJ should have the slight advantage just because the Trinity Force is completed and the Mirror Mana isn't for Yuhi here. But no, they just disengage and they go back to farming. And I think it just comes back to the fact that, again, Rascal Jesters don't feel confident in being able to do anything with Hachimecha here. And as I say that, they're going for this dragon. There is a ward on it, but look at where Flawless is. He's topside pushing in that turret.
Trading the Infernal for the tower, not the worst short-term trade, but it is Cloud Soul, not necessarily the dragon you would hope to stack, so... You know, Rascal Jester are going to get a lot of utility out of that extra adaptive power going into late game.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same situation that game one, right? Where it's like, okay, Zeri's going to make good use of it, but everybody else is kind of meh when it comes to using a Cloud Soul. So, yeah, I don't think it's that important. You just kind of want to clear it for Herald. Now, Herald has been started by Flawless here, and Rascal Jesters are somewhat aware of it, but they're not hard contesting it here. They're trying to focus on that mid side instead in Rayfarki. They see him. They back off.
Gonna look back. Yuki is just left to farm alone in the bot lane. I'm gonna say I kind of like this decision because Rascal Jester have spent the last 30 or so seconds being grouped up as a 5, sharing XP, sharing gold, sharing resources, whereas Burning Core, yeah, they might lose the Herald, but they are getting more in the short term.
True, and they're getting it more in pretty much every single lane. They've got leads everywhere except for bot side, and Yuhi, like you mentioned, is getting solo experience, solo gold right now. And I feel like if you are going that supportive Ashe build, levels are more important than gold for this Ashe here. So getting solo EXP is absolutely massive. And for Rascal Jesters, it feels like it's the opposite of the other games, where a lot of the other games is like, oh, Burning Core are up in kills, but they're down in gold. But this time, Rascal Jesters are actually down in gold right now, down in terms of macro movements. You've got your Herald, but what are you going to do with it? There's no more plates to take.
Yeah, there we have some recap Vigar stats. I mean, 81.7% kill participation. It's pretty damn good, isn't it?
Yeah, I wish we could get crowd control score, because I feel like the DPM, it's still lower than what DICE does on average. But I think this Vigar pick is a lot about the CC, a lot about the zone control here. And like you said, 81.7%. That is massive. 66.7% win rate as well. So 2/3 of the games are wins. Will this be another one, or will Burning Core be able to extend their playoff run here?
Yeah, their playoff hopes all rest on this game. Hachimecha, he just face-checked him! But he's still alive. Not Flawless will follow him through. That is the arrow! It is going to connect straight onto Soul, but DICE does not have enough damage to burst him down. Burning Core, they take a kill. They're now in this engagement. Fujimoto is going to get cut out by Secret. Does not have the flash to get away, and Soul makes it a 1-for-1.
Hachimecha has to stop face checking this. Like, seriously, this is really, really bad for the team here. And while they do manage to find kills, unfortunately, they will also lose a turret TP behind.
Here comes Ray Farky. He finds a double body slam, but Recap will be able to flash away the casters, knocking him out and away from DICE, who's still going to be looking for him. Recap gonna go gold with Flawless, and DICE are hungry for blood, and that's Flawless with the kill. And Burning Core, they're gonna go for the arrow. Here comes Yugi as well. I know, going to be the target. DICE the tower.
Not again!
Getting the kill, and Hachimecha with the Cataclysm. Gonna lock Flawless up, but Yugi is dishing out the DPS with Secret falling to the Ashe, and the turret push from Burning Core. They are not done yet, but I feel like this is such a dangerous position. Hachimecha could be looking for a re-engagement with Soul, and I know both low. It's going to be the tier 1 surrendered.
Yeah, and much more back and forth than I really expected there. DICE, once again, we saw this on his Yone. You live by DICE, you die by DICE. He gets a little bit over aggressive. He's diving in, and he's not quite at the point where he can one-shot there. Got kind of killed by the turret, but thankfully, the rest of the team was there to back up. And Yuhi with the Imperial Mandate. This is ARAM Ashe here with the Mirror Mana and Imperial Mandate. And honestly, I gotta say, I don't hate it. It actually works out pretty well, because the poke range is outranging the entirety of Rascal Jesters. And if you're slowed and can't actually get in there, how are you gonna engage?
And Yuki got 2 ults in that extended fight. First, when Hachimecha got caught out, and then in the mid lane. So you have already CDR paying dividends. That being said, can we just raise attention to DICE's CS? 230 by 21 minutes.
Yeah, holy crap. That's what is that? 11 CS per minute, slightly below
Something
that.
around that, yeah.
Yeah, that is insane right now, and this is why I guess they picked him to Kassadin, despite my concerns about it. It's basically gotten free farm, and we're 2 levels away from level 16 as well, where DICE is really going to pop off. 2 major items completed. The Seraph Embrace is going to mean that Rift Walk is on an incredibly short cooldown right now. And as much as I feel like Rascal Jester's composition is really strong, and they have infinite scaling or on that Vigar, and their Zeri is going to scale up really well, I do feel like Burning Core have a window right now to where they should be winning all these team fights with this very fed Kassadin, with this Ashe that's going to outkite most of Rascal Jesters.
Oh, the Herald was dropped in the mid lane to get priority over this Dragon. Burning Core, they're not taking the bait. They are going to let Ray Farky maybe take down this top lane tier 2. No teleports to respond immediately. Recap is recalling, and yeah, I think Ray Farky should be fine.
Yeah, definitely can't respond in time. The question is,
Actually,
can you get out alive here? They are seeing this with all the wards here. So if he just keeps running, Oh, he didn't get the turret.
That is also a bit too late for the disengage here. Rayfark, he has overextended his welcome. Down comes the Solar Flare. He's buying a lot of time. The rest of Burning Core are on their way, but he doesn't have the flash to get out, and he's got a body slam over the wall. There's a Zenith Blade Soul, still takes the kill. It works out in the end. Rayfark, I mean, it's just an overextension, nothing more to that.
Yeah, and I was wondering if Rascal Jester would actually look to go for this Baron here because they see Dice on the bot side, and I don't know if they tracked the teleport timer, but they had a window where it was going to be a 4v3, potentially a 5v3 if they wanted to fight for Baron, and because they don't do it, I know it's still stuck on this bot side, and Dice won that 1v1. Right now, for Rascal Jesters, no one's there to match Dice, so while Burning Core might not want to fight as a team, their split push is still incredibly potent.
Right, Baron buff set up. Rascal Jester. We've been there many times this series. This seems to be Rascal's Jesters. Well, don't want to call it a strong side, but they have done it satisfactorily so far this series. And Burning Core, right now they're just kind of dancing around the vision. They're not looking to make any decisive plays on this map.
I'm just thinking back to the Burning Core SoftBank Hawk series where Baron was paid off by Burning Core and kind of won like every single fight for them. You know, I'm starting to wonder if Baron, we need to check Baron's PayPal account because Rascal Jesters, it feels a little bit dicey here. They're wanting to do the Baron, but it's not safe for them to do it. And I'm so glad that they're not being mind controlled into it. They're still going to play this safe right here. They see Dice, they send multiple members to match Dice instead. And meanwhile, because their lanes, the lanes are so long elsewhere, Yuhi can't actually push in mid, and bot side, I know, should still be able to at least hold the turret against Rayfarky.
Yeah, Dice, okay, he's gonna be able to get away from the flag and drag. And yeah, it's a lull state. We have Burning Core sitting at a 3,000 lead. Fairly comfortable, I might say, but 2 items on recap, 2 items on Soul, actually 2.5 is more accurate. And they are the carries that are going to, well, basically make or break Rascal Jester's fights.
Okay, Dice, highest level in the game right now, and not by a small margin either. It's almost a full level up. I can see chat counting up the levels to level 16 here. Dice is almost there. And the Zonia is completed as well. Stopwatch picked up for the side of Flawless. Kashka, Burning Core are getting ready for that final hurrah for this Flawless Dice combo to come online. Then after this, it's going to just become the Dice show. Flawless is going to start falling off very heavily soon.
Yeah, he's got that Black Cleaver Prowler Skull. It's decent with damage, but yeah, as more defensive items are picked up, not going to be very useful in that. Still always has the playmaking. That's what we'll look for Flawless to do later in this game. But talking about him, 5 members of Rascal Jester going to the bot side. Flawless already burned the flash. We'll use the stopwatch. Here comes the teleport response from Burning Core. But at least it is there. The arrow is going to go wide, but Dice is on the recap. Does he have the damage to resin up? No, he's going to go out of this team fight, basically. And so in recap, both are still alive, and that is Dice dead. Yuhi follows him shortly, and Fujimoto left to dry under the tower. And Ace for 1 and Rascal Jester, they climb the lead again.
Go straight to Baron here. There's no one to stop you. And Kashka, we were counting down to Dice's 16. Well, Dice ain't sweet 16 just yet, and Castlewin was not online. Sure, he did a lot of damage, but so we touched on it before. The Zeri is so tanky with just 2 items here. The Titanic Hydra alone is enough. And for Burning Core, Flawless dodged so much, burnt so much time as well, and it doesn't even matter, unfortunately, here for the side of Burning Core. Numbers disadvantage still can't be touched, and Soul, just watch Soul's positioning, man. He's just not being touched, and only Dice can really reach him.
Yeah, and then the Primordial Burst from Recap, putting an end to the cast. Then Rascal Jester, they can feel it. They are wanting to have their match against Sengoku. Only 1 more Nexus away from that. And it's looking good if you're a Rascal Jester fan.
Yeah, that's it. They still haven't quite ended the game yet. And for all that they took the burn and won that fight, Kashka, they're only 1,000 gold up. So Burning Core still have a chance. It only takes, I was going to say 1 botch team fight. It takes 2 botch team fights for the side of Rascal Jesters for Burning Core to come back into this game. And is this really necessary to take this dragon? No, but Rascal Jesters are going to play this by the book and take it anyways.
Yeah, it's a free objective, might as well pick it up. Although, I feel like with the bot lane outer turret still standing, there is better gold that you can get for yourself. Dice almost level 16. Come on,
I
take
actually
it,
want to
guys.
see
Do
Dice.
it, do it.
Yeah, I just want to see Dice just keep pushing this lane right now, actually, because why not? Sure, you don't have TP, but who's going to lock you down? And if you keep pressuring, there we go. Rascal Jesters have to be worried about that here. You're not going to do much with the rest of the team. Oh, Dice! Dice backed off, but he is 16.
Yeah. We'll see if that is actually enough, though, to win the fights, because that is where my kind of worry is. I don't know how effectively DICE could lock down Soul, if at all. We've seen the positioning be immaculate. This Hachamecha is going to take a rendezvous in the jungle, does get hit by the arrow, the Sonic Wave misses, and he's buying time right now. He knows he is dead. The kill will be picked up by Flawless. What can the rest of Rascal Jester do? Tier 2 in the bot lane seems to be the answer.
Okay, fine. Hachamecha is buying time, but he shouldn't be selling his life. There's absolutely no reason for him to be on his own there. You had Baron buff, and you should not be the split pusher of the team. Now, sure, Rascal Jester's got an inner turret bot side, but that's all they got with the Baron buff. And that, to me, is not really worth it. Look at that Baron power play. It's only 2,700 gold. It should have been more, and now Rascal Jester is just going to have to reset. They're not going to be able to push any more Baron buff, and Burning Core get an extension on their lease of life.
Really feels that way. DICE also itemizing now slightly defensively against the Soul. I mean, you've got the 3 damage items on Cassidy, and that's, you know, almost as many as you need.
Yeah.
I still kind of struggle to see where you go here from now. Like, yes, you've got DICE scaling, but that seems to be your only carry, whereas Recap and the Soul, they're still getting items, they're still getting stronger.
True. I mean, the ARAM Ash here that Yuhi's building isn't really helpful if you can't actually team fight. And for all that, you know, you're kind of good at kiting, a single Solar Flare is all it takes to mess you up. And Secret has been quite on point with that. And that's why Burning Core is struggling. And that's why they're not going to be able to hold this turret. Baron just wore off. Arrow.
Go wide.
Oh.
Yeah, that is a big wave that is almost now getting cut down by Ray Fark. He is dead. Recap without the ultimate, but if you take down one of the main disruptors for Burning Core, they seem to not be able to find their way into this fight. So yeah, it's going to be worth it. And actually, look at Recap's cooldown. It's already a third of the way up.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with Vygar as well, is that it's counterintuitive because when he bursts you, he kills somebody outright. And the team that gets bursted actually needs to keep pressing, because if not, those cooldowns come back up. And then Recap gets to do it all over again. But the moment you back off, then you just have to wait for your person to respawn, and you just have to seed whatever objective is on the map here. So definitely really tough. DICE looking for Soul in the 1v1,
Yeah,
but look, Soul's winning this.
Flawless is in the back though. Soul is gonna hop off the wall. DICE tries to follow it through the depth charge, finds it's an knock-up, and DICE stuck behind enemy lines. He's gonna go golden. How much time is he buying? There's the Rift Walk away, and another one. The flash is gonna be up in a few seconds. I think I can see that small line there. DICE, he's running for his life. No, he turns around. Well, Hachamecha will be able to knock him down in mid laners. Traded. We are 31 minutes in. Why are we doing this?
I'm not sure. You know what? The reason why they're doing this is because Burning Core is behind. And when you're behind, you're happy to make these sort of trades. So I understand that they're doing that. And it's kind of worth for them. But we're starting to see the problem for Burning Core here. Like you mentioned, besides DICE, what else you got? And while DICE pulled everybody else away, DICE actually ran out of mana. So congratulations, you failed to kill the Zeri, and you're now out of mana. You're dead. You can't do anything as a Kassadin. Whereas Rascal Jester, sure, they lose Recap, which is pretty big when Recap can burst people down, and it's a big zone control catch, pick potential player here. But Soul can still carry the rest of the fight. So Rascal Jester's insurance policy, that AD carry is just better. And now Burning Core, it feels like that window has closed right now. Not only do you have to kill Soul, you have to kill Recap, and it feels like it's all on DICE's shoulders.
Soul and Baron buff coming up. It is a Cloud Soul, not necessarily the most impactful, though. Soul on that Zeri. It's so annoying to say. Anyway, Soul on that Zeri will very much enjoy the Cloud Soul kind of around those fights. And yeah, Burning Core, you can see they're desperate. They're looking for a play, but Rascal Jester are not giving an inch to them.
No, and keep in mind, Baron's coming up in 20 seconds as well, too. So
yeah,
you might just see a trade one for the other here. And either way, Rascal Jester wins no matter which objective they get.
The arrow was used, it just tags onto Secret, nothing too big. Dice teleports into the fight. He is with the rest of the team, and the poke wars have commenced. Burning Core winning those for now. We have highlighted that as a good thing about this Ash build, is you can keep your enemies at bay. But what's the call here, Burning Core? Do you start the dragon? Do you go for the fight? And what do Rascal Jesters do as well?
Rascal Jesters actually can't sit here. They have to look for a fight.
Yeah, Dice is gonna go into recap. Gonna go Golem as well. Flawless. Dice in the backside of like, keep your eyes onto Dice. And Soul is going to get knocked up. Dice still staying alive in the backside. Yuki is going to take the recap, and Soul is trying to shut down. Dice is able to find the biggest kill for Burning Core in the series so far. And Idol's dead. Clean ace for Burning Core. They stay alive in the series.
They didn't, Kashka. We said that the win condition was somehow they had to kill both Recap and Soul. And I want to see how they killed Recap. Of course, we get a pause. Rascal just is probably confused what happened themselves there. But Recap was killed by Yuhi while Dice was diving Soul. And somehow they find both the critical kills here. With these death timers, I don't think Burning Core can end. But they sure as hell can break the base. They can fall back on the Baron, Kashka, and they're showing that the game ain't over yet. Burning Core still has fire in them.
Oh boy, if they can close this one out, what a series it would make. But they are making Rascal Jester sweat. At the very least, right now, we can say, even if Rascal Jester win this game, even if they take the 3-1, they had to work for it. And, well, Burning Core, they are proving a lot of people wrong today.
Yeah, and this is the nice thing about Burning Core, and a lot of the LJL teams in the middle of the pack is that they never say die. They might tilt, but they're going to try their darndest to make sure that they go out swing in here, and they certainly are doing that. We are right back into a replay here, and I'm just trying to track where on earth is Recap.
He's just stuck there. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's really rough. Because the problem is that ideally you want Recap close enough to Soul that they can burst down Dice. Because you can see that Dice is getting low, but they can't quite finish. And Soul's damage output is steady, but what you need here is burst. So ideally you need to keep Recap close enough that he can just primordial burst out the Dice there, kill the Kassadin, and then the fight gets won from there.
Yeah, I also saw before we went into the pause that Recap did buy the Force of Nature on the Vigard. That is going to make it so difficult for Dice to burst down this champion. And honestly, it could be the thing that, well, stops this swing from Burning Core by the next fight. But the thing I need to see is how much Burning Core really get out of that, right? They got the ace, we're in a pause, they come back out. What do they get from it? It's... yeah.
Yeah, and gold alone, Kashka, at this point is not that important, honestly. We're hitting the point where I think Dice is, what, 5 items? Maybe even full build at this point. Soul, I believe, was at 4 or 5 items here. So, actually...
oh god, they're going for the end, aren't they? 10 seconds.
They might be able to do it, yeah.
Okay, let's see. 6 seconds on Soul. The first Nexus tard is gonna go low. That is the out to try and delay. Secret is gonna be able to dodge it. Soul is up. Recap is up. The Nexus is exposed. Rascal Jester, they're here to defend. Doom, Burning Core have enough damage to help us avoid the Nexus. It is below 1,000. No! He cannot, Rascal Jester! They defend their Nexus. Can they keep pushing though? The death time is there so long.
40 seconds. This is why I didn't think they were going to end. I thought they're just going to push in, take a turret or two, maybe go for Baron here. But there's an opportunity for Rascal Jesters, and Rascal Jesters have to be aware. Dice and Ray Farkey can backdoor them. Kassadin is infamous for this here. What is this? 20 seconds before Burning Core is up. They're pushing in. They've got minions.
Alright, that is very long death timers indeed. And let's see the 5 members of Rascal Jester. They are up. We have 10 more seconds. Onto Yuki. Dice is still so far away, and I think Rascal Jester have done it. I don't think Burning Core will be able to stop them. They gambled it all on one play, and it backfires at the final hour. The Nexus is open. Rascal Jester are fixing Goku Gaming. What the...
Yashka, this is peak content from the LJL here. The pause into the Nexus almost going down, and then the sudden reversal there. They wanted to make sure that we got our money's worth in this game for. And congratulations, Kashka. You, I think, were the only one who predicted a 3-1, or did somebody else on the desk predict a 3-1? But your prediction came through.
I mean, yeah, but I'm heartbroken for Burning Core right now. Like, it's so sad.
It is.
My God.
It's unfortunate as well, and I hope the analyst desk covers this later, but I do believe, if my eyes did not prove me wrong, Burning Core actually got distracted. If they had all just focused the Nexus at the end there, I think they actually could have ended, but I think they actually got... They tried to stop some of the champions from coming through, and that might have messed them up a little bit. It comes down to just this much of a difference, Kashka, and hey, say what you want about Burning Core, these guys have spunk.
Unfortunately, they have been knocked out by Rascal Jester in the playoffs. It is a sad one, but they went out fighting. However, we'll have the desk after the break to tell us exactly how that happened.
I think it's appropriate that we have a second of silence there for Burning Core's loss, and not to do an Avatar impression, but Echo, it's rough, buddy, and that's kind of how it goes sometimes. You know, it's unfortunate for Burning Core. They were literally a tiny amount of damage away from picking up a win here and taking us to Game 5, but it is not going to be their day to thrive. It will be Rascal Jester to survive and move on to the next round. And yeah, Echo, I feel that pain. I feel that a lot. But let's get the pick and bans up. Obviously, we get the predictions across the board. So most of us did predict the correct winner, not necessarily the correct score. Damn, my words. But this pick and ban is from Game 3. It's okay. We will talk about the one from Game 4. Let's just talk about the Lee Sin. Must one. Lee Sin came out. Prowler's Claw. Flawless really put it on the line.
It was a choice. It was an option. They didn't have to do that though, J-Real. They really didn't, and ultimately, I didn't really want to see the Lee Sin. It was an angle where they kept kind of forcing it over and over again. We know Flawless to be far more of the AP jungler, and that's what he played most of this series. Taking it away from Hachimecha didn't really feel like a takeaway. It almost felt like it kind of narrowed them in a sense. Disappointing last game there from Flawless. The Prowler's Claw not really doing much.
Yeah, it put in some work. He definitely had some moments of glory, but Infinite Dodge, let's go to the other side. Obviously, a lot of things that we talked about could get picked up, could get left open. They took away the Zeri. They also got Veigar. Was that a massive oversight there from Burning Core?
In my opinion, yeah. You know, we ran through it before, I think it was Game 3 I was talking about. We haven't seen the Veigar for a recap yet. I think he's one of the best in the LJL at that particular pick, and you look at that sterling base defense that came through on the Nexus, and one of the biggest elements of that was I think he got a 3-man Veigar cage off. It was absolutely critical. We saw early in the game recap trading 1-for-1 in a situation where he was getting dived with, you know, immaculate placement of the cage. I think it's one of the single biggest elements that wound up winning this game, if not the biggest, for the side of RJ.
Yeah, it was absolutely huge. And I want to talk about the Kassadin Echo. Obviously, a bit of a different pick, not something that we're used to seeing too often. They did get it to level 16. It was pretty close. Were you happy with this pickup? Do you think they played it well, or do you think maybe they could have played it a little bit better in the earlier stages?
I mean, it was definitely, I would say it was definitely a pretty good pickup. We were all sitting there, we were counting down in chat as well to hitting that level 16. He finally hits it and a lot of damage coming out, but I think that Dice wasn't expecting, for example, that he wasn't going to be able to just one pop this area, right? We saw him go for that dive and it's like nothing happened. Got him to like a good, maybe a third of his health. And then it was like, well, crap, I just used everything. It's time to go, right? So that was definitely a little bit unfortunate to see. I did like the idea that came out of it though, but once again, it just kind of fell a little short.
Yeah, definitely did it fall a little bit short. But I think all in all, looking at this as a whole, I think Burning Core could be quite happy with their performance. I think coming into this, it felt very much like Rascal Jesters were just going to storm this one. There wasn't going to be too much resistance, but obviously they came through game 1. Yes, they picked Zeri, but it was a shocking result. And looking at the rest of the series, it's been pretty close. Looking into the future, though, because obviously it's Rascal Jesters that are going to be going forwards. They are going to be taking on Sengoku on Friday, I believe. Marson, are you a little bit worried about this Rascal Jester side?
Oof, God, such a weird way of loading that question to me. Yes, I think they are in an incredibly precarious situation. They have been exploited in spots, and in ways that we've not previously seen from them. They had a very strong previous series, remember? So, we felt like, oh, well, this is just kind of as we expect from Rascal Jester. This game, this series in general, like, quite frankly, Burning Core should have won this game. We should have gone to the full Silver Scrapes. I feel awful for Echo right now, frankly.
Yeah.
Burning Core fumbled that. They should have ended the game, and we should be going there. Looking forward, though, I think we probably are going to see a Sengoku finals. I don't think this kind of version of Rascal Jester make it through them, and Sengoku already had their number. The fact that there's now more tape with more people with their number puts me in a spot of, are we back at the beginning of spring again for Rascal Jester?
Yeah, and I'm going to load up that question once again. Do like Graves 2 shots, Infinite Dodge. You're the one that's going to have to answer this question next. Are you worried about Rascal Jesters? Obviously, we've seen two completely different sides of them. One versus CJ, one versus Burning Core. One definitely looking very strong versus Sengoku. The one today, maybe not so strong.
All right, to play the Jester's advocate, I suppose, I will go on the defensive for RJ and say, you know, we saw a little bit of weirdness. We saw the Lee Sin, or rather the Scion Senna come out in game 1. maybe they were opting more towards some cheese picks because they didn't want to show strats for what they would anticipate is a better series of opponents awaiting them in Sengoku and DFM, and maybe, you know, getting knocked down in the dramatic fashion they did in game one sort of upset their mental through the other games. I want to buy some space for RJ to say, no, this wasn't us at our best. This isn't reflective of how we are. It was a little bit of the apple cart being upset. So that's sort of the angle I'm leaning into right now. And I think the definitive answer, while I am a little bit more cynical about how the result will go, I think the definitive answer will be how they play versus Sengoku. And we shouldn't immediately go to doom and gloom saying, well, now they have no chance. We'll know after game one of that series. But
doom and
that's
gloom,
a ways
mate,
off.
if you're a Rascal Jester fan. It's copium. It's hopium if you're a Sengoku fan, right?
I mean, as the SG fan amongst us, I am certainly excited that this is the RJ roster. The iteration that shows up for that losers bracket semifinal, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for sure. I think they're a little too good, and they were too clean for too long for this to be the real them. Definitely a blow for the region if this is more of the RJ we see moving forward in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely was a close game indeed, and I think all in all, Rascal Jesters, they need to go back to what they did a week ago. You know, I feel like
J-Real, you gotta ask me what if I think that Sengoku's
yeah, we're
gonna
coming
win.
to that.
Just ask me.
We're coming to that in a second. We're coming to that in a second. A week ago, Rascal Jesters looked really strong. They looked defiant. They looked like they could even take on DFM. Obviously, this week, not looking as good. And Echo, here you go. It's your turn to say, how do you feel Rascal Jesters are going to perform against Sengoku?
Sengoku's gonna put them in the dirt. Okay, I want them to I want to grind them in the dirt, turn them into a joke. These damn Jesters. Okay. All the feelings and all the emotions aside, though, I will say that it's like we were saying, right? This was a game that the majority of the devs thought was going to be incredibly one-sided, right? And honestly, it was nothing like that. That last game, especially, was so close, won by just that amazing three-man stun that we saw coming out from a recap. And so, if Rascal Jester performs like that, I don't think they have a shot at all. They're the ones that are going to get 3-0'd.
Yeah, it is definitely rough. Obviously, casters don't normally take sides. That's a joke to anyone that says that casters shouldn't. But I agree with you. I think that it's definitely a sentiment of, so you don't like seeing your team lose. Burning Core, they're not managing to come through. But it is what it is. We'll have to see what Sengoku are saying. Because obviously, they didn't look too hot against DFM either. But that is a question for another time. Right now, we're going to play Mess or Impress, my favourite game. You guys have all played this one with me, I believe. Infinite Dodge might be the only one that hasn't, but as always, it's pretty simple. Who was your Mess? Who was your Impress? We're going to start with Mess so that we can end on a high note. So, Master One, you can kick us off. Who was your Mess in today's series?
Do I do it? Do I take the low-hanging fruit? Do I really do it here? Yeah, I'm going to do it. It's Yuhi. He literally got demoted down to ARAM Ash build. There we go. No more. No more need to be said.
Echo, you are up next. Who was your Mess?
Honestly, for me, my Mess, I'm gonna have to say, was probably Hachimecha. Just some of the things I saw coming out from him, it's just not the Hachimecha that I expected, and I was just like, I'm sitting there, I'm looking like, this is not Hachimecha. Who is this guy? Like, the account swap? What went down? Who's playing? His little brother's playing from, or something like that. Like
his newborn child is.
Well, in that case, I'm impressed, but still, like,
good
maybe
mechanics.
Good mechanics.
Infinite Dodge, who was your Mess for today?
I'm going to have to, let's see, how can I avoid making a pun here? I'm going to have to agree with what Echo said. Repeat it, definitely not echo it. That it was Hachimecha. It was a little bit sloppier than I expected. Definitely not living up to the standard that I had sort of envisioned when we were going into this series, especially in, I believe it was game 3, the Lilia draft, the way he responded to some of those early invades. A little bit head-scratching, for sure.
Yeah, I think my Mess personally was potentially the drafting. I think that there was some questionable picks across the board. I think that it was said best by one of those tweets, which was Jace's win rate, ? It's yeah, there were definitely some difficult ones, you know, early picks on Aries, no picks on Hecarims, Darius being left over, but that is all in the past. Now, on to the lighter note. we're going to go in reverse order. Infinite Dodge, who was your impress for today?
My impress would have to be Recap. We were sort of talking about going into this series, can Recap really match up to the other premier mids in the LJL, the likes of Jet and Yaharong? And my response was, well, if he gets Vigar. And so that question is still continued to be answered. The Vigar still looks crispy, clean, and dare I say flawless from the side of Recap in this series.
What about you, Echo? Who was your impress for today?
Honestly, as much as I want to give it to Dice, just because I feel like there were a lot of moments where I felt like he kind of stepped up when his team really needed it to him. It's like, someone needed to pick up the slack and he was there. I have to agree with Dodge and give it over to Recap, just especially that last game. I mean, it's no small feat to say that he was absolutely pivotal when it came to them winning that game. And like Dodge said, right, he had some crispy, clean cages, put him in the baby cage, put him to sleep. It was nap time, especially for Flawless. And so overall, I got to give it to Recap.
Fair enough. And then for you, Must One, who was your impressor today?
And not sound like a broken record, but I'm going to. Honestly, Recap, I've gotta. I mean, I thought he played fantastically. I needed them to step up, especially into a very difficult matchup that was going to be Dice. And Dice threw down the gauntlet of different champions at them, and they did okay. They even sometimes came out advantageous, which, frankly, for me, is a positive, because Recap has been gapped before. It's gonna get tougher, though. Because if he can do it versus Dice, can he do that versus Jet? And if he can do it versus Jet, can he do it versus Yaharong in a full 5-game series? I don't think he can, but a series like this gives me hope that he could.
Well, we'll have to see in the future. We are going to, well, on the note of impress, we are going to get our player of the series up right now, which has been voted for by all of the casters. So if we can bring that one up, that would be Ace. And it is going to be Recap. So very fitting for all of the impresses that did come through from our desk right here. And I think, to be honest, a really, really good performance in general. And I will say Recap has kind of been the dark horse in my eyes for Rascal Jester, because he's kind of shone the most in these playoffs, where he was definitely doubted a lot coming into this season. With that being said, I think it's definitely going to be a little bit more difficult. As you said, Must One, it is definitely going to be tougher and tougher opposition coming up next. And we're going to have a That's So Raven moment now. What is your prediction on the series for Friday? Must One, you can go first.
Oh, it's going to be a 3-1 Sengoku win. Yeah, pretty confident with that. I think everyone... I saw people giving out. The ex-owner of V3 Esports and Corporal both think Rascal Jester is going to win 3-1. I think they're wrong. I'm going to call them out openly on broadcast. It's going to be Sengoku Gaming.
What about you, Infinite Dodge? What is your prediction for next week? Or next Friday?
Now, you see, I don't want to trap myself here and look completely foolish. I think it's going to 5 games either way. I'm a Sengoku fan, but I've also been very impressed with RJ so far through the season, and I'm counting on a bit of a bounce back. I'm going to give it the 3-2 to RJ, but if Sengoku wins, I'll be happy, and I won't be too surprised.
Then Echo for yourself.
I'm gonna have to say that I'm gonna hope for the Rascal Jester's sake that this was a bit of a wake-up call for them in a sense, right? And we see them a bit more refreshed the next time we see them on broadcast. I'm gonna have to side with Max and go for a 3-1 Sengoku as well. However, I think that Rascal Jesters, they're gonna find an opening, right? They're gonna manage to grab themselves a game, but at the end of the day, they're gonna get stomped.
I'm going to tip the table slightly. I think it'll be 3-1 Rascal Jesters. That's just my personal opinion. Crazy as it may sound, we'll see what happens.
Evan beat them positively. They're head-to-heads. Like Sengoku,
who brought this guy on?
You are crazy. Yeah, I'm right. Right.
Best of 5s give you
we
more opportunities to
see.
adapt.
We will see what happens on the day. It's definitely one to watch out for, though. Guys in chat, if you do want to keep up with that game, Rascal Jester vs Sengoku is going to be on Friday. You do not want to miss that series, because it is pivotal as to who goes to the final, which will be on Sunday as well. So don't miss out. Some of the people that you see here today will be on the desk right back again. But that's going to be all of the action for today. Rascal Jester is picking up another win, going further into the playoffs. We are going to have to say goodbye to Burning Core. Their core was finally extinguished. And with that being said, hope you guys all have a nice day.